see the results. Okay, so meaning age is not a factor. And some of us will go, oh my God, I'm too old. Okay, no, it's never too late. Okay, so Cik Nurul, are we in sync now?
Yeah.
I've been blabbering away.
Okay. So
We
later.
can kickstart now.
Yeah, we can start.
Okay, so we're going to have the opening ceremony. Okay, Dr. Jasmine, you're going to do the honors to officially, cannot allow in Malaysia. Malaysia always have an opening ceremony. So you are the person in charge. I like to do this. Okay.
Okay, very good morning to everyone. Okay, so I'm Jasmine from Postgraduate and Research Center. Okay, today we have the honor to have our adjunct professor, Prof. Amran, together with us. Okay, so if you know that, right, if you happen to go to search from the research.com, right, his citation, his index, right, okay, the citation impact, right, is actually in Malaysia, right, he's actually top 100. Okay, so that's why we have the honor, and he's an expert in the mixed method, so he's definitely the right person to share with us. And this day, right, the trend has been moved to the mixed method. You cannot just rely on a single method, whether you want to be good in quantity or whether you want to be good in quality, because a lot of the time, right, you need the knowledge from both, right, in order for you to have a rigor, all right, research paper. All right, so without further ado, let's invite Prof. Amran. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the honor. Thank you for inviting me. How do I switch back to the PowerPoint? Okay, it's coming up now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's me and Nora. Okay. Dr. Nora now. Okay. We always discuss at coffee houses and optimize my time, her time as well. And yeah. So rightly said. Okay. The mixed method finds both quantitative and qualitative. Yeah. So meaning, I attended a Viva yesterday, and everybody was like, oh, we got Professor Amran on board. He's the mixed method proponent. I want to say I'm a specialist. And sure enough, the other examiner, I won't mention which university, there were 3 examiners. So I'm external, the other one external also. Ask the student, why are you doing mono method? Okay, because by doing mono, he was doing the typical standard and quantitative method based on questionnaire design, and then using the PLS. Okay, everywhere you see this over and over again. It's like a template. That's what he said. I read your thesis. It's like I'm reading a template. I know already. And therefore, he asked the student, what is the novelty of your research? Yeah. So the first question was tough. Where is the novelty? And the student was struggling and trying to. And the guy says, so what? We know all this already. The underpinning theories, okay, support the framework and test for mediation, okay, blah blah blah, and so on. So what? Okay. Then comes the suggestion. Why don't you explore doing this mixed method? Because the strength of the quantitative method, okay, is that it tells you what is significant. I was one of them before. Okay, in my past life, I was a statistician. My first degree was statistics. I love statistics. I love playing with games and numbers. Okay, but after a while, when I did my PhD and my supervisor forced me to do qualitative, and then I thought I was going to die. And this is the problem, because most of us were happy with the competencies that we have, and we dare not challenge ourselves to explore other methods. Okay, and as scholars, okay, we have to improve our competencies in other fields. You can't be resting on your laurel forever. You can't be good in PLS forever. Even PLS now, you're doing this group analysis and so on, right? So you can't be happy. I'm an expert in mediation, moderation analysis, full stop. Okay. You even venture into multi-group analysis and so on. Okay. And this is the demand, not just for the thesis writing part, but also for publication. Okay. And the game as academicians, you have to write because this will tell the world who you are. Okay. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about all this. Everybody knows. Okay. For today, I'm going to. Okay. This is the itinerary. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Jasmine, for the kind opening remark, and I'll give it the briefing. We'll explore the novelty as mentioned before. Okay. One and fall methods. Then, Dr. Jasmine, do we have a break?
Please, you to decide. That's the way thing that you want to give a practice on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can last because I had roti canai, the mama. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. But maybe I'll just have some water to drink later on. Then we're going to the mix and multi methods. Okay. We'll do triangulation. I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix this phone. This was given to my son. Until now, I do not know how this old man, with new technologies, you get lost. And even Amalia was able to rectify all the problems just now. Thank you, Amalia. And then we'll do triangulation because the moment you have mixed method, you have to triangulate your findings. This is a requirement. Okay, you don't triangulate, then you will be tortured. The examiners will ask you, if you send papers for publication, the editors will ask you, what is your triangulation results? Okay, I'll share some examples. I wanted to make my session today unique by asking Dr. Wan Nur Aswana to present her research and how she applied mixed methods. Okay, and then so if she can do it, you guys can do it too. And we're now writing papers as well. I'm so happy. Okay, and putting her as the first author. And so one of our papers is pending for publication, coming out soon. Okay, so then we begin the journey of writing for publication. Okay, so hopefully we can knock off by 12:30. Okay, and novelty is the key word. Okay. MMM, okay, stands for mixed and multi method. Okay, using the abbreviation. So as raised before, the quantitative method only shows what is significant, full stop. Again, you show significant based on your hypothesis testing. At the PhD level, we expect to see inferential analysis, not descriptive anymore. Okay, you have to propose hypothesis, test it out, and show the results. Which one is significant?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, 讲话一样。
我这个。
And this is where the qualitative method comes in to explain the phenomenon. Okay, to explain the phenomenon. Okay, meaning we take quantitative. Okay, which tells you what is significant. Okay, but the qualitative, okay, you explain the phenomenon. Meaning, okay, it tells you why this is happening. Why it is happening. It tells you how to solve the problem. So quantitative method. The question starts with why and how. Okay, qualitative research. In the mixed method, research questions will be the one type. It's quantitative. And if you're doing mixed method with some qualitative elements, you have to have the how or the why type. instance there. Okay, so combine together the reader, the examiner, once they read this, this person is doing mixed method. Okay, so this is important. Sometimes we fail to realize we just write our research questions without even understanding the fundamental requirements. Okay, so and I put it in here. The novelty can be explained in the conceptual, methodological, and in the empirical novelty perspective. Okay, meaning the conceptual framework, okay, is one of the novelty. Okay, the methodology, the combination of the two methods is another novelty. Okay, and empirical, okay, based on findings, and you triangulate your findings is another novelty. Okay, and we highlight this in chapters 1, 3, and 5 of the thesis. Okay, I'm talking about the standard thesis, yeah. Meaning each thesis got chapter 1 intro, chapter 2 literature review, chapter 3 methodology, 4 findings, 5 base, conclusion and recommendation. So this issue of mixed method has to be raised or has to be written, must be written in these 3 chapters. I will explain later. Okay, then towards the end, okay, we will discuss the epistemological issues. Okay, this is another thing. If you read Nora's thesis, okay, or One's thesis, we discuss epistemological issues. Yeah, meaning this is the philosophy of the research. Okay, I'm not insisting on this. Okay, Dr. Jasmine. Okay, I know some universities they don't emphasize on this. Why am I emphasizing on this? Because some examiners, see, once you go to the Viva, you've got 2 external examiners coming in Wollongong. Okay, I know because I went through it. And some examiners, they ask questions on epistemology. Okay, so meaning in life, I train students, particularly those under my supervision, okay, to be broad-based, to be prepared for the worst, to put everything in there, okay, so that if there are questions, it's there already. If you don't have an epistemological section and then the examiner asks you, what philosophy are you using? And you start to scratch your head. What are you talking around about? Something like that, you know. You guys are very serious, huh? So that was my favorite book. You know, when I was at school, primary school, there was this friend whose English was atrocious, you know. He would say, you know, what are you talking about? He would say, what are you talking around about? So I will remember this till the day I die. Okay, so then we will discuss common mistakes, okay, and how do we triangulate, yeah? Okay, the novelty, okay, novelty, okay, basically you read with gaps in the knowledge, and you challenge existing assumptions, okay, the notes are with you, Amalia, you can share the notes.
Yeah.
In my philosophy, I share everything, okay, because that's what life is all about, you know. And you develop a novel application, okay, and apply existing knowledge or methods in a new and innovative way to solve a problem or answer a question. Yeah. So on that basis, okay. Okay, the Jasmine is gone. Yay. We can relax a bit, yeah. So once again, yeah, these are questions examiners, editors like to ask. Okay, what is the novelty of your research? Okay, so if you're using mixed or multi-method, okay, before we go further, there's this thing called mixed method and this thing called multi-method. I'm sorry, my pronunciation, I don't say multi, I have this multi. Okay. So mix and we've got multi. Okay, mix will be the one plus one. Okay, if you observe, I can't write properly. See, this is my U. Okay, well, because I have this dyslexia. As a child, I struggled with writing. You know? That's why I became a mathematician. So then I learned to write words. Okay? So meaning both methods are being used. It becomes mixed. And multi-method, okay, it can be, okay, the moment we say mix and multi, it means more than one. It's no longer mono method, yeah? So you've got mono method, only one, and you've got mixed or multi. Okay? Okay, this is one, pure quantitative, only survey questionnaire based. Okay, this is 1 and 4. And multi could be 1 plus 1 or quality plus quality. Okay, meaning I'm using a survey questionnaire. Okay, and then I'm also doing some panel data analysis, both quantitative instead, right? Okay, panel data, that's a big question. Okay, I'm doing number one, my students, because she's an agronomist. Okay, so she's doing, how many of you are familiar with this term called experimental design? Anyone? Good, very good. That's a statistician. I'm worried now. I better wash my mouth. So you have experimental plots, and her research is on efficacy of organic fertilizer, where she used organic fertilizer for one plot and the chemical-based fertilizer for the other plot, and she compares. Is that just simple comparison? We do what we call experimental design, and so on. Okay, to know more, we have the expert there. Now we're going to talk about it. So, yeah, I still use it because now I've got the students doing experimental design, so I all my old textbooks and remaster the concept of okay. So she is doing field experiment, yeah, so that she can do the experimental design. So she's doing a field experiment. She's got a survey that comes up later on. Therefore, it's 1 plus 1. Normally, we always think that quantitative method is just survey questionnaire. Oh, there are many other instruments out there, techniques out there, which qualify in the quantitative methods. And the other one is qualitative plus qualitative. Okay, I do an interview and I do an observation. I give a protocol and I do my research. I do my interview, I do a delta. Okay, and then I combine together, I got quality plus quality. Yeah. So this is multi-method, meaning groupings of similar research methods together. Yeah, and some different research methods together. But understand, because let me tell you why, and this is where the fun comes in, because there was one journal paper we sent. Okay, and then say sometimes in life you think all this editorial board they're experts. No, some of them cannot even differentiate between multi-method and mixed method. And I was using the term multi-method. Okay, and the reviewer said this is wrong. And this guy going to Canada. Then I can show off my competencies in this area. So but of course, you write nicely lah. You say, hey, you don't do that. So you write, I'm sorry, I have to disagree. Or I beg to differ. You know, the classical way of disagree. I beg to differ. Oh, it sounds so British, So, so you write properly, nicely to the chief editor. Hey, your reviewer, okay, made a mistake, but in a nice way, lah. It is still multi-method, and then I show all my references to show why my research is a multi-method research. Because of them, they published. Okay, and because of them, they invited me to come on board, blah, 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 blah. So this is very fundamental. Okay, and if you want to embark on this stream, you better understand the fundamentals. Okay, so that you will use the correct term and apply properly. Okay, if not, you will get in trouble. Okay, so this, what I've written on the board, is the fundamental. Yeah. Okay, let's just move on. Okay, so to me, when we talk about research gaps, there are so many forms of research gaps. Okay, and to me, this is the easiest point to show research gaps. Okay, because you need to understand the methodologies being used. Okay, I can point out that I'm doing some serious work. Yeah? So, and you criticize, and they say, okay, based on the review, okay, many papers or many past studies are using quantitative methods, particularly survey-based questionnaire. Okay, for your research. Okay, only a few you put examples. Only a few studies on motivation, let's say your studies on motivation, are using qualitative methods. And because of this, okay, and because of this, when you combine both, then you're showing the methodological gap. And to me, among all the many types of gaps, the one that is easiest to address is this one here. Very easy. What you need to do, you open up Google Scholar. Now you know how to do this, and you look into past studies and so on. Okay, and then come up with some simple analysis to show majority are doing this, very few are doing this, and you're filling in this vacuum. Because I am not only, once again, not only explaining the phenomenon, but I am doing. Okay, I'm not only showing the significance, but I'm going to describe the phenomenon or show solutions to the problem. Okay, that becomes a big picture. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to skip this lines. Okay, this is my standard lah. Yeah? So if you read Nora's thesis, you will see this also. Okay, when we talk about significance of the study, section 1.5, in most cases, yeah, chapter 1 has typically 8 sections. Okay, an overview or intro, background, problem statement, research gap, research questions, and objectives, significance of the study, okay, scope, operational definitions, and plan of the thesis. Typically, some variants are there lah, some variants are there. Okay, but for me, thank you, Cik Amalia. Jasa anda dikenal selalu. So, the significance has to be a bit more detailed. Meaning I break it down into 3 parts. Okay, practical significance, theoretical significance, and methodological significance. Yeah, and the third part, methodological significance, is where I describe my mixed or multi-method. Remember I said to you before, when you talk about this, you describe in chapter 1 there. Okay, chapter 3, methodology, chapter 5, why your mixed or multi-method works. Okay, these 3 chapters must describe this. So the intro, you only give a very brief perspective. Why are you using mixed method or multi-methods? Okay, and examiners, they like when they see this, the ability for you to differentiate significance into proper perspectives. Yeah, easy for them to understand and read as well. Okay, I'm giving some examples here in chapter 3. Yeah, I don't know whether you guys can see it. Okay, on the left, okay, is a concurrent mixed method. Okay, one of my China students, okay, Min Yangzi, okay, she has 3 questions. Okay, and the first question, she's using the interview guide, okay, and protocol. And the second question, she's using bibliometric combined with the Delphi. And for the third question, she's using a survey questionnaire. Okay, yeah, basically there are four methods in there. Once again, is the interview, okay, Biblio and Delphi, okay, number 2 and number 3, and number 4 is the questionnaire. It looks scary. And some people, they are so afraid because, oh my God, I've got so many instruments to develop, I have to spend so much time. But no, if you pace yourself, like this one here is being done concurrently. Listen, yeah. In research, mixed or multi method, you can either do concurrently, meaning simultaneously, together in one go, or you do sequentially, one after the other. Okay, so and all this has rationale as well. Why are you will ask SMS, why are you doing sequentially? Why are you not doing concurrently? And you must have reasons why you do so. Okay, certain things can be done concurrently, certain things can be done sequentially. This must be understood. To go into this game of mix and multi method, you have to know this. We'll talk more about this later on. Okay, and then in the summary section, for all my students, we do this also, like you will see this in Nora's thesis as well, where the student will put in all the objectives of questions in a table and put in the methods, the analysis, and the sample in this table in the summary. And most people, when they write summary, is very bland, but for my students, I said, you throw in a table, you put in all your methods in there, okay, with your analysis and sample related to the research questions or objectives. Once again, examiners like this, because towards the end, this is the summary table, all the methods used in the study. But this will only work if you do mix or multi-method. If you do mono-method, don't do this, it looks ridiculous. Sorry, the language, yeah. So logic must prevail. Okay, the moment you have more than one method, throw in a table in your summary of chapter 3. Okay, it covers everything nicely. Okay. And then in chapter 5, okay, this is chapter 3, you discuss your mixed multi-method. And once again, in chapter 5, okay, typical chapter 5, you start with the intro, recap of the study, discussion, okay, limitations, implication of the research. Then you discuss practical, theoretical, and methodological again. So you repeat again what you discussed in chapter 1, okay, significance, but here implications. You show how your mixed methods work, and the process is being done in a robust manner, okay, empirically driven, okay, you have tested for everything. In quantitative methods, you test for all this reliability, validity, okay, biasness, and so on. Even for qualitative, you have to test for trustworthiness. How many of you are proponents of qualitative methods? Raise your hands, please. 1, 10, 2, okay, we are safe. Okay, we are safe. Okay, as I said to you before, okay, I used to be a quantitative oriented person, and because I was a statistician in my past life. Okay, so and mathematics, you become very analytical. So your left brain becomes more developed than your right brain. So when you walk like this, because you are a mathematician, you're a quantitative person. Okay, accountants, mathematicians, finance people, walk like this. So I was fortunate the hikmah of doing my PhD in Denmark. My supervisor forced me to do qualitative method, and I had to relearn all over again. And the qualitative people, you can ask our friend here, he will say so, he will agree with you. Qualitative people, we are more creative. We can accept ambiguity and vagueness. We don't look for hard, solid numbers to support anything. We can tolerate ambiguity. Okay, so our minds are more creative. Therefore, our right brain becomes more developed. So the quality people, the musicians, the architects, the designers, they walk like this. So the beauty is, once you become a practitioner of mixed method, you walk straight. And no longer walking like this or like this, this balance. And so I felt, the blessing of doing my PhD, and I was forced to do qualitative method, but I negotiated with my supervisor. I want to do mixed, and he allowed me to do so. And the rest is history. Okay, so so far, okay. Okay, we're going to the two methods now. Okay, and why are we doing this? Basically, okay, when we look into the various aspects, yeah, each and every one has its own strength and advantage and application as well. Okay, so that's why when you combine both, okay, it becomes richer. It becomes richer. Okay, and I learned qualitative because I can work with small sample sizes. Okay, the moment I reach saturation point for interview, I'm done. Okay, I do thematic analysis. Okay, I develop my framework. Okay, I'm once again coming up from the Danish school of thoughts. Okay, if I do pure qualitative or qualitative bias, let me write this down. Yeah, because you will see this. Because in life, there are many schools of thoughts. There are many experts running all over, and they like to argue, and they like to agree, not to agree. Yeah, they like to agree to disagree. So I'm from the old school of thought. Okay, I was trained by the English professors. Yeah, and before I forgot, that is one. Okay, there's a methods also. Let's say you are looking into the mixed method. Yeah, you can have one form, which is the quantitative bias mixed method. And you can have the other one, which is the qualitative bias mixed method. Easy mixed method. Okay, let me talk about you're doing mono method qualitative, or you're doing qualitative bias mixed method, or multi-method qualitative. Okay, meaning more qualitative or purely qualitative. Okay, because how do you know whether you are qualitative bias or quantitative bias? You look into your research questions. If more of your research questions are quantitative oriented, you are quantitative bias. Yeah. Okay, and then if your research questions have got more qualitative questions, what, it becomes qualitative bias. Okay, easy to understand, yeah? Okay, so the way I was trained by the Danish, okay, when you do qualitative mono, qualitative multi, or qualitative bias mixed method, okay, we have no framework. We have no theories. We don't discuss theories study. Okay, reason being, we do not want to be influenced. I mean, confirm with my more illustrious colleague here, who's better than me. Okay, so because when you do qualitative research, you do not want to be influenced. Yeah, so theories will influence you. Okay, frameworks will influence you. What will give you, but the framework is in your mind. It influences, and you tend to be biased. We were to be like that when I was doing my PhD. Okay, but now in the modern era, you see that this schools of thoughts, and now I read theses also. They are qualitative pure research with theories and framework. Okay, and afterward I surrender lah. And dulu I would say that this is very wrong. Okay, this is dosa besar. It's a cardinal sin. Then, but then afterward you cannot be a purist forever. Okay, so we are sad. So this is the dynamic of social science research. It evolves. Okay, and you have to have the willingness to change and adapt. Okay, to the changes. Okay, so now I'm okay. I'm open, even though in the heart you feel like I can't stand this, but because why you even read theses coming out from good schools, from Cambridge, Oxford, and so on. They are now having qualitative research with frameworks and theories. Okay, so okay, I've lost the battle. Sorry, have to agree. Okay, so the beauty we're talking about so small sample size. This is where the strength of the qualitative research. and the ability, or sorry, the choice, okay, where you can use non-scientific method. You don't have to use random, stratified, cluster, okay, what's the other one? Random sample, or stratified, systematic cluster, okay? Makes it easy for you, okay? You can use purposive, convenience, snowball, judgmental, okay? Easier for you, okay? But I would strongly recommend, among the many types of sampling methodologies for qualitative, please use purposive. This is the best among all. Yeah? If you read literature, read journals, qualitative, not many are using convenience sampling, okay, or snowball. You know the theory of the snowball technique. Let me sit down, old man. You know, I am this year. I will be how old am I this year? That's my wife. How old am I? Let me test it. I'm 65 next month. Okay? Yeah, 60. Good. Yeah. So even though I look young, but I'm actually old enough. So why am I talking? Talking about something before, and then it's full of thoughts. Where did I stop just now before I asked about my age and so on? Yeah, well, thank you. See, the qualitative person, they will remember. It was just a test, I purposely asked, and then I forgot. I just wanted to test you guys. I got a memory of an elephant, remember last things. Alhamdulillah. So, why snowball? It looks funny. And the theory is the snowball. If you go up the mountain top and you throw a snowball, you watch this Tom and Jerry cartoons, yeah? Tom is chasing Jerry, Jerry goes up to the mountain, takes a snowball through, and Tom was running. The ball gets bigger and bigger and squishes Tom. Okay, but Tom still survives. Okay, so I studied in America for my bachelor's degree, masters, and I did escape where snow is like nobody's business. So the first midterm, we went to the mountains to test the theory. We went up to the mountains and threw a snowball. Nothing happened. It's all cartoons. And then we use this term, snowball technique, in methodology. Does it make sense? Because that is in accordance to the story of Tom and Jerry. But in real life, I tested because, okay, I'm a scholar, I have to test this. So right up the mountain, nothing happened. And then, so that's life. Okay, snowball is not recommended because it's weak, it's biased, okay, and many criticisms. So you want to quality, stick to purposive, the safest bet. Okay, even the great Amran, okay, use purposive for some of his PNS studies. So, okay. Let's move on. Okay. So the beauty of combining both, you have the option to capitalize on the strength of each of the methods. Okay, deductive approach. I'm going to talk about all this. Everybody knows, yeah. And for qualitative, okay, it's more of the analogy of the elephant, the perspective of the scientist when being blindfolded and asked to, touch the animal, and they give different answers. Okay, it's like a wall. Okay, it's a snake. Okay, it's like a tree, and so on. It's like a rope. Okay, so this is why qualitative research falls into the interpretivism paradigm. Okay, it's how you interpret things, yeah, from your perspective. Okay, and this is why in qualitative research, the sample size cannot be yesterday was a proposal defense. So this student from Bangladesh. Okay, she wanted to do a study on women leadership, and she wanted to do based on 5 countries: Bangladesh, Malaysia, some other South Asian countries, and Singapore. I think so. She's got 5 countries, and she will select 2 women leaders from each country. Meaning total 10 lah. Yeah. So I asked her, how can you have only 2 from Malaysia? Would that cover? Will it be representative enough to portray, women leadership in Malaysia? So this is the problem now. With only 2 people, it was here we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. They give different variants, okay, based on their perception of how the elephant looks like when being blindfolded. So in qualitative research, there's this thing called the saturation point. Okay, this is where you stop. And this is where you look into the answers. It seems to be going to a point where it's being repeated again, meaning saturated lah, plateau. It's a plateau. Yeah? Meaning you can stop, you can start to do your thematic analysis, okay, group your teams, okay, and then okay, okay, if you do quantitative research, I have to write this down, okay, because I just love this new approach. Okay, when I was doing my PhD, I used this method called Miles and Huberman. This is the what do you call it? The main reference for qualitative research, 1984. Of course, they do additions, but to me, still the first one was the best. Now, sometimes in life, even though they have new additions, but the first one is still the best. And so I always refer to this, okay, for when I do my qualitative research. Then over time, we came across this new approach for thematic analysis, Brown and Brown. Okay, many versions like 1994 was the earlier one and so on. Okay, but then recently, okay, I came across an even better one, Naim et al. Naim et al. 2023. Okay. And now I'm a proponent of Naim et al. Okay, because Miles and Huberman. Okay, Miles and Huberman only talk about how to categorize teams and group to logical manners. Okay, these 2 ladies, they developed this 6-step approach from transcribing to coding, okay, to thematic formation of teams, categories, and so on. 6 steps. This guy went beyond. Okay, they talk about the traditional 6 steps by Brown and Clark, and the last step is to propose a framework and say, "Wow, this is the best for me now." Okay, because all this while I've been studying and studying. Okay, we know, because as I said to you before, my old school of thought, when we do qualitative, we have no framework early. But the framework comes in the last chapter. After we do the mapping analysis, we try to rationalize the positioning of the teams, which one comes early, which one is what we call contextual factors influence at every stage. Okay, and then our friend Naim talk about this. And once we have this, once I had this, oh my God, this is the answer to all my problems. Because some people criticize, why are you doing your framework in the end? Now, don't listen. Okay, now don't listen. Naim says that this is a heavily cited reference. If you click on this time at all, the references citation is huge. When it's quite new, but it's huge, and people are not switching to Naim at all. And this one, once again, the dynamism of research. You can't be doing the same approach really, you have to move on. Okay, there's this thing called you learn, you unlearn, and you relearn. There's a lot of steps to be a scholar. Okay, if not, we'll be just like a lecturer. Okay, sorry, the language, you want to be scholars. Okay? Won't be very few. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, oh my God, today I'm going. We will finish at 5 o'clock today. Okay, this is quantitative research, the definition, positivist epistemology, and so on. Skip all this. Yeah. These are just definitions, yeah. Now we're going to epistemology and so on. Okay. Okay, I'll focus on this one. Why am I focusing on this one? It's because I spent 3 hours trying to do this. Okay, so and I would put myself in the middle, if what happens. So on the left is the, as mentioned before, quantitative mono, only one. Well, you can get the notes from Amalia and share everything. Oh, you guys have not got yet? Huh? Okay. Okay.
Get it after.
Okay. Okay, you don't invest for anything else. Okay, so on the left is quantitative mono or quantitative multi, okay, or quantitative bias. So meaning, you want to fulfill a research gap, okay, and therefore your philosophy will be positivism. Why? Because it's hypothesis driven. And a PhD, it should not be descriptive analysis anymore. You have to propose hypothesis. Yeah, meaning you're going to use the positivism epistemology. Okay, and it's based on things that must be measured. Okay, perceptions must be able to be measured. Or then can use quantitative methods. That's why we are looking for the legal skill, people skill, and so on. Guys, listen to me carefully. Yesterday, this guy completely disaster. I put out really, then his face one. You know, I love being an SNS and choosing for that nobody's business. So this guy, he was using a 5-point Likert scale, and a so-called Likert scale. But then when he prepared his what do you call questionnaire, the way he defined 1 is low, okay, 3 is moderate, and 5 is high. And I agree with him, I disagree with you. Because number 1 is not a good skill. A good skill measures agreement. And he agreed back with me. I like people agree with me. And said, low means low agreement. Wow, it was agreement of the plate. And then high is agreement. Yeah, but low agreement doesn't mean strongly disagree. Okay, that's negative all the way. You know, strongly disagree is negative all the way. Negative is the legal thing. Measures agreement. The leftmost is the strongest negative. The rightmost is the strongest positive. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. And in the middle is always neutral. It's never slightly agree. It cannot be no, I don't think so, whatever. Because the Likert scale, if it's based on the odd number point, 5, 7, the middle value has to be neutral, full stop. This is according to the work by Francis Likert back in 1945, whatever. And this guy will still to be alive today and see this. People manipulating his skill, people will be crying, coming out from the grave and the article, oh my God, this is wrong. And so I told them, your skilling is wrong. And because of that, your research has got this big problem for GIGO, G-I-G-O. Anybody knows what it stands for, G-I-G-O? It stands for garbage in, garbage out. So there's a lot of rubbish. It's rubbish. You know, and you analyze and you got fantastic significant results, but this rubbish not up because your scaling is wrong. It's very important. I also be. Don't appoint me. Okay, but I'm the type, I can be critical, but I give good recommendation how to start it. Okay, so that is what I should do for the first one. Okay, so and I said, you know, and what not? Number two, your middle value is not neutral. And that is moderate, is wrong, doesn't jive with them. And for that reason, I believe your data cannot be used. You have to do everything all over again. You have to repair your instrument, rebuild your instrument, and do over again. It was about to die, you know. It was about to die. He came from Oman to a flight in the morning. Okay, so I tell you, it's incumbent. So these are things, yeah. When you do research, do things properly. Don't just say, and when you refer to quality journals, the ones which are heavily cited. Don't refer to papers that you sent to me, it get published yesterday. You know, they are, mana ada bang? This journals yesterday. What I'm saying is, there are journals which are what we call predatory journals. You said it get published. You didn't even bother to read, you know. And you see this in the internet. So, this author, this journal paper, I wish this one up for my research. Come on. You read the citation. Okay? Because these are things that the examiners will ask you. How sure are you that the instrument that you use coming from this journal is a quality journal? How do you get it? You don't even refer to the indexing, okay, citation, and use this for that data. Okay, so if you use proper instruments, nobody will shoot you, and you are safe. Even if they shoot you, you can shoot him back. Hey, you don't pay a full pay, you want your data, and you go, oh, this guy is good. I've got one of my students in the past, this guy was so good, I was so impressed, didn't realize it, but when during the Bible, he really pleased to, he practically memorized the whole thesis, all the references, years. He can just, and as everyone was shocked, and it was, the defense was only for 45 minutes. Because the examiners has got no more question. Every question he can just answer just like that. And he remembered all the years of the references. I was blown away. And after the presentation, the examiner wanted to take an Oxford there. Okay, my friend again talked to my student, hey, go, you want to join my university, man? I can be on the diet as well. Oh, no. Go, it's going to go to TM, you know. Just having a B, so these are things I'm sorry, I'm talking about. But yeah, even though it's quantitative, but this point here, you know, how do you measure sections? You know, there is agreement scale. There are what you call frequency scale, always, seldom, never. Those are called frequency scales. Okay, they are important scale. You don't just say everything is Likert scale, come on. Likert only measures agreement, the full stop. Our friend Francis Likert would be, you know, turning in the graveyard. He use his name for something different. Yeah? Okay, so on the other side, we've got the qualitative mono, or qualitative multi, or the qualitative bias. The objective is to solve problems, to understand the phenomena, to propose solutions, blah, 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 and so on. Then, to understand between the lines, yeah, in play. Okay, so it's called interpretative. How do I remember? Because based on my mathematical knowledge, orientation in the past, because positivism is mathematics, so it's quantitative. Okay, interpretative is always qualitative. How do you interpret? Okay, interviews and so on. And over here, We don't have hypothesis, but we have propositions. And I use this a lot for my thesis also. And my current batch of students are also using propositions as well. Okay, and you present based on your findings of interviews, observation, reading. Okay, you do a document review. Okay, let's say you do a study on financial performance. Okay, but you read financial reports, companies' financial report. And it's here, even though finance is quantitative, but you review reports, document review. That is clear. Yeah. So if combine both, you have me. Whole journey, trust me, you know, it's a long journey to develop the competencies, and you lose a lot of hair along the way. Betul tak, Bang? Correct? Hello, I'm talking to you. This guy oblivious. Okay, the building blocks, yeah. So there are so many forms, okay, quantitative, mono, or multi, or bias. On the left, okay, you do descriptive, inferential analysis, and so on. Univariate, bivariate, multivariate, and so on. So, and on the right, the pure qualitative mono or the multi or bias, whatever, you can use narrative approach, okay, ethnographic research, case study, phenomenological, and grounded theory. My suggestion, okay, as much as I love grounded theory, it is the most difficult strain in qualitative research. It takes a long time because it's iterative. You interview and then you re-interview many rounds, can be very tiring. If you don't have the stamina, don't do it. I got one PhD student, not mine, okay? It took her 10 years to finish her grounded theory research. Yeah, she came out old woman already. Okay, so then she joined Southern College and I'm very happy ending. So, and also good. I asked my illustrious colleague, the qualitative researcher here, okay, because he's very observant. Yeah, observe. People only here, mixed in the middle. What do you observe based on the shapes of the boxes, whatever? Yeah. And this is perhaps one of my greatest discovery. Yes. The highest box is slightly higher than the right. It's not by design, you know. It's not by design. No. It's real. It shows that the mixed method is the apex, the best, as compared to these two. That's why slightly higher. Okay, I'm going to box myself. I want to by this. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So, my thoughts, okay? Sometimes you read papers, books, and so on. And then you come across these things, Delphi, Technical, critical incidents, action research, many more. And they say these are also qualitative methods. But the traditional, once again, the traditional, okay, approach is to qualify qualitative approaches into 5. Only these 5. Okay, narrative, ethnographic, case study, phenomenological, and grounded theory or grounded approach. Only these 5. But then you read other things, they say, hey, this one also qualitative law. And then they say, hey, how come? Okay, so my interpretation, okay, so in life, you always have to challenge assumptions and try to interpret things differently. Don't just accept things lying down. Okay, we are going to be scholars. Okay, we're not going to, okay, samina wa ta'ana, I hear, I obey. No, you know. So I call this right side the qualitative support. It's just support. It's not an approach. It's a small component. Okay, the pure approaches are the 5 on the left. Anything else to me are just qualitative support. It's qualitative method, but not really, cannot be qualified as an approach, standardized, accepted, okay, by all parties concerned. Hey, wow, got Chinese alphabets down there, characters. Wow, huh? I just noticed. Common over here, you have translation coming out. Huh? Wow. Oh, yes, sir. Okay, I'm not going to go through. This is by Philip Adu, friend of mine. He come up with the flow chart on the right. So just go through it. Anything you don't understand, just contact me. I can explain. Yeah. So, guys, listen. I came across this. Yeah. And I said to myself, "Oh my God, it looks scary." Yeah. Because there are many things in here that I am not familiar with as well. When we talk about experimental design, they've got quasi-experimental design and pre-experimental design. Okay, I have not learned this yet. I have to admit, I do not know everything. Okay, so don't pretend you know everything also. In life, nobody knows everything. Okay, and it's our job to know everything. We need to learn and master new skills along the way. Yeah. So, okay, let's take a break. I think it's been very stressful. Break. Okay, starter. Hey, break this one, break. There's a mind game break, and I want to sharpen your minds. Yeah. So, Johnny's mother had 4 children. 1st April, 2nd May, 3rd June. Number 4 is what? Johnny. Wollongong is same, yeah. You guys say it's July. Okay, I'm going to bring you to the windows and throw you out. You don't deserve to be part of Wollongong. Okay? But then this is the thing, the mind influences you. Okay, you think it's April, May, June, number 4 must be July. We are not in Indonesia, guys. Indonesia don't have this, Julianto, because he was born in July. Okay, Aprilasia, because she was born in April. No, this anybody from Indonesia here? Obviously, be careful. Anybody here from Indonesia? Not man, huh? They will slaughter me, making fun of them. I hope my recording doesn't go out. I die. Okay, let's go on. Okay, okay. This is the great Saunders and Saunders. Okay, Saunders and his colleagues. The latest version is 2023. Okay, I made a mistake. I'm using the older version. Guys, if you use anything, please use the latest version. There's a new version of the Onion 2023. So this is obsolete already. That you use the classical technology acceptance model, TAM. Yeah? Anybody? Venkatesh work? Anybody familiar? Technology management, technology acceptance model. Venkatesh? Anyone? No? Okay. Then I can lie lah. Okay. Venkatesh started TAM many years ago. Then it comes up with TAM2, TAM3. So if you use TAM, please use the latest version, TAM3, not TAM1. Like SOR. Anybody familiar with SOR? Stimulus organism response. Mehrabian. What's this guy's name? Russell and Mehrabian. Okay, now there is SR2 extended, meaning it's better than the old SAR. So guys, if you use theories, please use the latest version. Yeah, because it will tell you the older versions has weaknesses. Okay, and the new one overcome the weaknesses. The people at the door pointing at me, I'm worried now. Am I in trouble? Nothing. I'm not in trouble. Okay. Somebody was going at that, so I was worried. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Okay, so this is the Onion. And I get all my students, guys. So the people looking at me, I better step up. Okay. I put this in my chapter 3, and I explain the layer by layer. Everything. So that it looks very structured. Looks very structured. Okay, this is the epistemology. Mixed method I've used in pragmatism. Okay, so and then was inductive, additive, or deductive pieces and so on. Okay, with this mixed method, complex, simple, okay, multi-method, mono method, and so on, and then all the dedicated method. So meaning, then we talk about how to analyze the quality of data. Okay, it's a very powerful tool for your chapter 3. Okay, to make things easy, and examiners when they say, this guy is very structured. He impresses people. Just like all over the world, with no focus. In the onion, then it becomes a bit easier to understand the process flow. Yeah. So the left brain, we talked about this the other day, okay, and the right brain, okay. So and when we use mixed methods, okay, both brains will function properly. Okay, then you walk straight. Okay, walk straight. Okay, the yin and yang, okay, typical. Okay, and why do we do this? You give a better perspective of everything. Okay, reaching the parts other methods cannot reach. I like that. Okay, by Pope and Mays, 1995. And they are like siblings, brothers and sisters. Okay, this is the mixed method, quantitative plus qualitative, anyone. So you do questionnaire plus observation, mixed method. You do time series data with document review, mixed method. Okay, you have a checklist. Okay, you do a experimental design. Okay, and then followed with a Delphi output or Delphi method, mixed method. Okay, 2 different methods being applied. It can be simultaneous, it can be concurrent. We'll talk about that later. Okay, then if you go downward, okay, meaning following the main umbrella, all the quantitative data, okay, time series data, checklist records, okay, experimental results, then it becomes multi-method quantitative, the yellow one, right? You go slow on this, so you will not make mistakes. Okay, Amalia, am I in trouble or you're looking at me? So, and then on the right, the green one, okay, if you do interviews, this is the beauty. You can do interview and observation at the same time, correct? Right? You develop your protocol, you do it simultaneously, voila, you have interview and observation in one go. Okay, but when you do observation, how many of you remember this thing called the Hawthorne study done by Richard Mayo? This classic management in the 1930s study. So this guy, his name is Hawthorne, whatever. He's a researcher. So he wanted to see, like this one here, the light is dim over here. How will the light intensity impact the productivity of the worker? You're like me, okay? So he went to a paper mill factory, okay? And then went into the shop floor, look around, okay? And then he goes to the mezzanine floor, open the window, and start to observe. And then he starts to play around with the lights. He dimmed the light, and his proposition, because this is qualitative, yeah? No hypothesis, only proposition. His proposition is light intensity will impact productivity. Okay? The theory is, if it's dimmer than before, the eyes also gets smaller and smaller. They're pushing, He's listening, but the eyes are getting small. But not you guys, you guys are still observant, good. Yeah. So, and his thoughts, if I crank the panel, okay, light panel, people will be more alert and they work faster and better. And he start to play around with the control. Okay, dim the lights, He observed, look into the windows at the mezzanine floor, down is the shop floor. What happened was everybody on the shop floor worked faster than ever. They went whack-o, like lipas kudung, you know, this Malay proverb, lipas kudung. Running all over the shop floor. Oh, you know, they went whack-o. And they don't go whack-o lah. You know, whack-o is a term gila lah. Okay, let's say, cannot be lah. So then he cranked up, make it lighter. And people even work faster. and then diminished. People work even faster. And then he asked himself, what went wrong here? See, if you do observation, that's why qualitative research, yeah? There's this thing called the protocol. You have to put this in your instrument. You don't just call it interview guide, you call it interview guide plus protocol. Meaning you talk about how you conduct the interview. It's not just an observation guide plus protocol. Then students, they don't care about that. They just, okay, this is my interview guide in appendix 3. Okay, so, okay, you don't describe how you do it so that you will not get bias findings. That was a bias finding. Let me tell you why it was a bias finding. Because Richard Hawthorne went to the shop floor. He moved around, observed some stupid questions, wearing his top hat, you know, nice jacket with a briefcase, typical British 1930s, you know, with his cane, walking stick, etc. So when he went to the shop floor, all the workers on the ground floor, shop floor, sorry, became conscious. This guy, whatever happened, we work like crazy. That was why everybody worked like crazy, irrespective of the light intensity. So it was a flawed experiment. The observation guide failed because he did not follow the protocol. He should just go up to the top, to the mezzanine floor, open the window a bit, you know, make sure it's not seen from below. Then you will see correct results. Yeah. Sometimes when you develop instrument, throw in your protocol as well. Why am I saying this? You know, okay, I train my students to always be prepared for the worst. If they ask for protocol, yeah, get this. And in life, it's always easy, okay, to scale down than to scale up. Okay, meaning if your document, your thesis has got so many things, the examiner, hey, this one cannot, I can take up, easy to take out, you know, correct? But the examiner say, hey, why is this missing? Where is your epistemology session? Then to put in your epistemology session is difficult. And you don't even know what is it, what you're talking about epistemology, that biology, you know, then you get into trouble. Okay? So to scale down, meaning to reduce the size, okay, of your thesis, document, paper, journal, whatever and so on, it's always easy than to scale up. You know, my wife is a fitness instructor. It's the reverse. Now, to become fat is easy than to get there. Yeah. It doesn't work on me, you know, so sorry. Okay, guys, okay, let's move on. Look, if this one is scary to some of you before, this one. This one, look at this one here. I downloaded this a few weeks ago and I asked myself, what is this? Look, emerging methods. Emerging methods. Scary stuff, you know. Some of them I'm not even familiar with. You know, sentiment analysis. What is this? Survival analysis. Oh, I will not survive this. You know, down here there's one, number 11, survival analysis. Oh, takut, yeah? You read this also, oh, you will die like this. You die standing. Okay? Time is okay lah. Cluster analysis, what is this?
Okay, so the ones at the bottom, some of them I'm lost. Okay, I'm lost. Okay, that shows knowledge has evolved with time. Okay, and we as scholars have to embrace, master this. Why? One day a new student comes here and says, I want to do ethnographic research. And it's not fair. I am coming out from a different school of thought once again. I always believe students have every right to choose whatever method they want because it's close to them. And we should not tell them, no, you use my method wrong. Okay, if you don't know, you learn. That's how you become a scholar. So, okay, let's do it. And slowly you learn. Okay, then you become the scholar. Okay, my approach in life. That's why my students, you will see 1,001 types of research. There's one girl from China, she's doing a study on Baiju. You know what's Baiju? You know what's Baiju? Baiju. You know Baiju?
What?
Yeah. The white wine, yes. Baiju. You know. So I said, oh my God, you know, I'm a Muslim and this girl. I've got one, his name is Pastor Isaac, Father Isaac, I call him Pastor Isaac. You know, he's doing study on Christian leadership. It's part of servant leadership. I said, oh, never mind, I'm a professional and we have good discussion and there's certain things along the way. Okay? So, but then again, I never tell them, no, do what I want you to do. No, because to me, if they are close, I mean, Pastor Isaac, if he wants to do something, it would make life difficult for him. But because he's the pastor, okay, he manages the congregation in Sabah, and so easy for him to get data. So our job is always to facilitate research, not to please ourselves. So I never claim. There are some people who claim I'm the supply chain expert. All the students do supply chain. I think you lose the opportunity to learn. You lose the opportunity to learn because you are the subject matter expertise on supply chain. My thoughts, sorry, I'm not supposed to influence anybody. Okay, this I want to focus on because this is the most important slide in today's workshop. Okay. It talks about the typology, the various types of mixed or multi-method. Okay, I shall put the name of the developer of this method. Yeah, when you read method books on mixed multi-method, first thing that pops is Caswell. Yeah, this guy is the expert, the guru. Yeah, I used to subscribe also to Caswell's thinking. Afterwards, it doesn't work now. Even though he's the expert, I have to disagree. Not because I'm an expert, but I want to find a better way to understand, a better way to teach. And to me, this is the easiest and better way to teach mixed or multi-method by using symbols, plus, arrow, and alphabets size. Big alphabets, small alphabets. Nampak tak? Did you see? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you from Malaysia as well? You don't look like. Are you from Malaysia as well? Oh, okay lah. Everybody Malaysian here? All Malaysian here? Huh? Okay, good. I see. No Indonesian here? No. Okay. Guys, look. UUL was capitalized plus one small alphabet. What does it mean? It means this is qualitative bias. This one has more weightage than this one. And the plus means you do it simultaneously together. Okay, inductive. This is the term used by our friend Creswell. You read also, you get headache, But I use symbol, why? Because mathematician in my past life. Easy for me to understand. I'm grateful in my past life I was a mathematician. Okay, so it makes sense. A plus means together. Okay, arrowhead means sequence one after the other. Don't you get? That's very logical. Okay, so for all my students, even Nora use this methodology, typology to explain, and we drop the Creswell thing because very difficult to understand. Yeah, logic that. Yeah. So you can structure your mix of multi-method. This one becomes qual plus qual. This one is multi-method. It could be interview and observation, but the observation comes after the interview. Okay, you want to do it together. Okay, qual plus qual, mana? Qual plus qual. Interview and observation done simultaneously. Like, oh, you got this out. Okay, when you interview, you observe. Observe. Okay, qual plus qual. Okay, meaning the first one is bigger than the other one, but it's done simultaneously. Interview is bigger than the observation, but being done simultaneously. Then the logic of using mathematical symbols. Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, my mathematical knowledge in the past has helped me to understand things better. Okay, so I've colored in yellow the ones which are multi-method. Okay, easy for you to see. Okay, and I group them later on. This is from Creswell. The one in bracket lah. Okay, deductive sequential. You can understand that, but sometimes you get confused between deductive and inductive and abductive. Yeah, use arrowheads and plus signs. Okay. Now this one from Creswell. Convergent parallel design. Wow, scary stuff. Another one from Creswell. Embedded design. Why? This is the problem with knowledge today. Because so many gurus out there, Guruji, they have many different ways of explaining things. And they are very arrogant people. I must use my way, I'm Guruji, I am Guruji. You don't play. I am Guruji. My PhD from Harvard. And so you have many of these Guruji, and they're all self-centered. They like to agree to not agree. Why can't they just standardize the terms so that we, the lay person, can understand things easier? Doesn't have to force me to look at other alternatives, which along the way I find to be more convenient and a better way to describe things. And this is our challenge, trying to find mechanisms that make things easy for us to understand, appreciate, and apply. Yeah, this is Creswell standard. Okay, another one. Okay. This is the table of content for chapter 3. Okay, from one of my students, startup entrepreneurship ecosystem, university-based startups in China. Yeah. So typical chapter 3, she is doing sequential mixed method involving focus group, interview, and cross-case analysis, as well as Delphi and WBU. It's typical Professor Amran student, minimum 3 methodologies. But then again, my objective in life is to train them for the future so that they master many methods, so that one day they become supervisors, they know how to supervise better. Yeah? If you train them only one method, you'll be an expert in only one method. Yeah. So, and this is a qualitative bias mixed method. Okay. Why? Because she's got cross case, she's got the Delphi and the qualitative, and she's got the focus group in there. Okay. But she also have the questionnaire. Should be in here, cannot find it. It's in there, okay? And this is a qualitative multi-method. okay, using semi-structured interview, the Delphi method, and the focus group. Okay. This is a quantitative bias. Because she's got experimental study. Okay, this is where the what's that thing called, experimental design comes in. Experimental design comes in. Okay, the one was intense. Okay, bibliometric in all actuality, oh, it's too cold. Okay, better lah, you know, if not you freeze to death. And then also your brain also freeze, and you cannot absorb, you know, because your brain is up there closer to the device. Yeah. Okay, so guys, listen. Bibliometric, so many schools of thought. Some are saying it's quantitative, some others are saying it's qualitative. You know, all this systematic review, okay, bibliometric, what's that? So the one that you look into past literature and do your analysis, yeah. So, but I have to agree with the main authors that say this is a quantitative tool. It's not a method, it's just a tool. Okay, so please be careful. That's why you have to read a lot. The Delphi, the one that I'm using for most of my students, have two phases. One is using thematic analysis. The second round, they use a non-parametric test called Kendall's coefficient of confidence. I'm going to go into the detail. If you want to know more, you talk to Nora. I've trained her to be a Delphi expert. Okay, she can train you back. Okay, okay, ecotourism to see this. Yeah. So this one is for a questionnaire, the Delphi, and the Biblio as well. Okay, so that's what it's called. This one is a mixed method. Okay, sequential mixed method. Okay, quantitative bias. Okay, so is this inductive or deductive when you use mixed methods? That's not me. That is Captain Cook from Star Trek. What's that spaceship called? Enterprise. Enterprise. That's the reason why he's here, you know. And he goes up there and says, "What you know? Oh my God, you know." So how do you answer this? You know, examiners like that. Your research is inductive or deductive? What more if you're using mixed method? Is this inductive or inductive? You can have both in there. Okay, because the qualitative is the inductive side and inductive reasoning is in the quantitative side. Examiners like to ask tricky questions, trick questions. Why? Because the Viva Voce is the platform where we test your competencies in the research methodology. Whether you have sufficient expertise based on the methods that you use. Okay? Okay, mind games again, yeah? Okay, how do we make this correct without touching any sticks? What is the problem here? These instructions, don't be like, oh, I moved this thing here. No, you cannot touch. Cannot touch wrong. Anyone? Hello, Assalamualaikum. Worried now. Okay. You have to think out of the box, okay? Different perspective. How to get this from this? Okay, this one says 11 plus 1 is 10, right? Roman numerals, right? Okay. This one says 10 is equal to 1 plus 9. So to get there, okay, this one, what you need to do is to flip your laptop. Then you see the correct answer. Or you do a headstand. I cannot laugh. She's the fitness instructor, she can do it. I will fall down, break my neck and so on, go to the hospital because of this problem. Okay? So, see, this is what differentiate. I conducted training on creativity recently in Indonesia. There's a term, since you're all Malaysians, okay, a Malay term, fikir, to think. Okay, I use the term akalkan. We need to use your brains. Okay, because if you think, you tend to find only one answer. That just now, one answer is to flip the laptop 180 degrees, correct? But if you do a headstand, that's solution number 2, meaning you are now akalkan, you're using your brains. So to akalkan is a higher level of intellectualism as compared to fikirkan. Because fikirkan, you're contented with finding one answer. But in life, there are many answers to the problem. There are many possible solutions. And we should teach people to find as many solutions as possible. Okay? So the third solution to this is to stick a mirror at the end. Okay, and then you look into the reflection and you will see this, the reflection in the mirror. Right? Betul tak? Okay. So this is the paradigm of learning lah. You don't just teach people, okay, how to answer or solve a problem, but how to utilize, okay, the greatest gift to us is what's up here. Okay, so this one is from my China student. Also, okay, concurrent mixed method, BW interview, Delphi, and survey question. Okay, those of you who cannot remember what the Delphi is, there were some from my previous workshop 3.5 years ago, right? They still remember. See, they will again talk to them, okay, and they will share you. Or talk to Nora. She knows how to do the Delphi as well. Okay. Another one, Pak Yogi from Indonesia. Okay. Comparative study between Malaysia and Asia, the impact of the palm oil ban by the EU, European Union. Okay, because they claim that we destroy our forests. Okay, we kill the orangutan when we open up more and more palm oil plantation. Okay, so he uses a lot of quality method, and it's actually research oriented. Okay, this one, the fertilizer thing. Okay, experimental study. Here's another one. My student did a study on China students. Okay, and I like this one. Let me enlarge this to show you guys. Okay, these are the 3 research questions. I normally have 3 or 4 research questions. I don't believe in having many. You know, that's my thoughts lah. Because we can always expand. Yeah. So he's got 3 different samples for his research. The first question, he said this will be the focus group, but later on he changed lah. Actually, the first one is the interview. He changed. He interviewed 12 ongoing Chinese PhD students, meaning newbies, students who have just joined the Malaysian university. Newbies lah, they have just joined. Yeah. For a second question on problems and obstacles faced, okay, the Chinese students are those who have finished the proposal defense. The first one, newbies. Second one, halfway through. Yeah, and he also complemented with a bibliometric study. Okay, but for the last one, okay, how do Chinese PhD students in Malaysia overcome these problems and obstacles? Okay, he used those who have finished the Viva, about to graduate. It was a very interesting study, so, and you see the maturity, the responses, from the first question to the next to the last. Yes, please.
Econometrics is supposed to be one.
Mhm.
One thing.
Good point. Okay, so for this one, our friend, okay, I like this. Our friend, okay, Joe Fay, he found literature that said that the bibliometry is a qualitative instrument. Okay, that's why in life, you can always overcome argument by showing literature. Okay, as I said to you earlier, even earlier before, right? I said some argue this, some argue that, and I feel now it's more quantitative. Okay, but like for this one, initially he put candles W, the non-parametric analysis for ranking, but along the way he did not use candles W, okay, because there were some criticisms to the candles W. This is the proposal stage lah. Okay, he changed and used mean and standard deviation analysis. Okay, so interesting lah. So everything is qual here. Okay, this multi-method qual, and he does it concurrently. Okay, because the three different groups are not the same, therefore he can do it concurrently. Understand? No. Okay, good. Okay, here we are again. Okay. Hey, why is this coming on? Oh, okay, I wanted to show this one. Okay, you have to read books. Okay, if you're doing a mixed method, this is perhaps the best book to argue the pragmatism of mixed method. Yeah, so I've listed the book in there. If you don't have it, get your library to subscribe or buy this and read this. And when people comment, you argue. This is a great book. Yeah, this is a great book. Okay. This we talk also. I'm just putting here the epistemology, positivism or empiricism, and this one is interpretivism or constructionism. See, once again, they're all the same thing, but these people in the past, they destroy us by, I don't care, I want to call it constructionism, whatever. I thought interpretivism is easy to understand, correct? But some people along the way, they say, no, I want to call it constructivism. Okay. But it's good to understand the difference. Technically, they're the same. But because of ego, okay, people choose to create. Okay, once again, issue with the brains, God's gift to mankind is a set of brains. Our brains are superior to all other beings, So let's do a test on this. Okay, guys, really stress life. You feel stress. That stress and improve mental exercise. I don't believe in all this physical exercise. Hello, assalamualaikum. I believe in mental exercise. Yeah. Okay, ready, guys? Ready? Hello.
Ready.
Okay. Okay. Everybody loves to play this game called mahjong, correct? Right? You know how to play mahjong? I don't know. I also don't know. Okay, never mind. Okay. So I want you to pick one of the mahjong tiles. Okay, try to remember it. Try to remember the tile that you have chosen. Okay, got it? Ready? Look into this. I prepared this algorithm, a man walking in a circle till the end of time. Okay, think about your tile again. I've taken it away. Wait. Correct? Your tile is gone. Huh? What? Because all the tiles are different. Look at this one here. On the left, number 1 here is about some Chinese characters. I don't know what it is. Okay. But the one here before, there's Wong Fei Hong. Remember Wong Fei Hong here? So meaning, whatever tile you have thought of earlier from here,
It's gone.
gone. Even though you have different tiles, all gone. Say why? Because thank God we've got a friend here. Creative people, they will observe. The right brain observe. Okay, and then you see the results. So to do research, you have to be super observant. If you want to do thematic analysis, how do you develop teams? No, the fundamental when you do thematic analysis is that when you group the keywords into teams, the teams have to be mutually exclusive. There shouldn't be any case where one team and another team, they look to be very similar. People will be confused. There shouldn't be any situation where the keywords in a particular team can also fit into a different team. People will get confused. Okay, why? Because towards the end, I'm doing the nothing at all approach. Based on your thematic analysis, you want to propose a framework. How can you propose a framework when there's weaknesses in there? When the system mathematics, we call it independence and mutually exclusive. Nothing is, it belongs to one group only, doesn't fit in elsewhere. No overlapping. It's not, it has to be mutually exclusive. Okay, so that's why we do this game, sharpen our mind. So creatively, we know how to do a proper thematic analysis. I don't believe in all this NBO, Atlas, TI, whatever, and so on, to do thematic analysis. I am still the old school, because I was trained by the Scandinavians. Yeah. Now, when I did my thematic analysis those days, and because also those days we didn't have any software. That shows how old I am. Okay, so the old school, we would paste all the keywords on the walls and flow to and fro until we get headache, pick up, isolate, put in another wall, and then brainstorm all over again. Now at a click of button, and Google will do it for you. Okay. In fact, I now use Gemini for thematic analysis. I can use ChatGPT also for I don't have to do it now. Okay. I don't have to subscribe to any of these expensive softwares, whatever. But then again, nothing beats doing the manual approach because you get a better feel. Because sometimes you use all the software still, you may make mistakes lah. So that's why when you do thematic analysis, my students and I normally we do all these funny games like we call it mind games. So that the mind becomes more alert. Okay, now we are ready to do thematic analysis. Let's go, Chicago, and then yeah, we see fantastic results. Okay, and then we can argue, brainstorm until we are satisfied. It looks good. Usually exclusive, independent. Okay, I always believe that no man is an island. And then whatever you do, you have to have other people, especially somebody who's more learned than you, to guide you to do things correctly. Okay, it is job supervisor, okay, colleagues, okay, learned people among you to guide so that you will not go ke jalan yang tidak benar. You will not go astray. Okay, okay, let's move on. Let me have some water first. Okay. Okay, common mistakes, yeah. Common mistakes in mix and multi method is 10:30. Good, my timing is excellent. Okay, as much as I love mix and multi method, sometimes mono method can still be the best. Okay, so logic must prevail. Logic must prevail. In any research, everything is guided by your research questions. Be serious now, okay? Everything is guided by the research questions. Okay, the research questions will dictate whatever methods that you use. If all your research questions are quantitative oriented, why bother, coming up with qualitative methodologies? It doesn't make sense, right? But then again, if you want to do it, you can tweak. I will show you later. Let's say you have written everything, and then after this workshop, say, oh my God, I'm going to die standing. You can always tweak. You can always tweak, adjust your research questions so that the element of mixed method can still be there. And I will teach you how to do this later on. Okay. So the common mistake is to think that mixed method, is necessary. It depends on your research questions. If all your research questions are quantitative, then no point. If all your research questions are qualitative also, no point. Okay, so yeah, unclear integration plan. Okay, lacking a defined strategy for combining and interpreting qualitative and quantitative data. Okay, you don't even know how to combine and interpret. You don't understand the concept of triangulation. Okay, so all these fundamental skills have to be there, and only then can you do a proper mixed method study. Okay, the triangulation thing. Okay, the fundamental is, according to Russell, okay, do not feel absolutely certain of everything. Meaning the triangulation is like a verification process, okay, to verify, to validate, okay, that everything is done properly. That involves more than one method. So imagine you have 2 methods, or 3 methods, or 4 methods, okay, all these have to be triangulated properly. So what is triangulation? Main purpose, okay, is to increase the credibility and validity of the results. Yeah. Attempt to map out, explain more fully, doesn't sound correct, English wise. To explain more fully, 1980s, you have to check again on this reference. More fully, the richness and complexity of human behavior by studying it from more than one standpoint or perspective. Yeah. So, meaning, as I mentioned before earlier, the quantitative method only tells you what is significant. Full stop. Okay. The qualitative view will tell you, will explain the phenomena, will guide on how to solve the issue, problem. Okay, will give solution or phases of implementation, blah, 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 and so on. Okay, like the focus group. Okay, the research question that uses the focus group is to recommend how to develop recruitment strategies, okay, for China students to adapt easily, okay, to different environment of learning, blah, 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 so on. Okay. Okay. So meaning to provide recommendations. Okay, and not just to provide, but to go into the detail. Phase 1, what should be done? Phase 2, phase 3, an action plan. Okay, and that is a very good response to a research question that seeks for recommendation. Not just anybody can recommend, but the qualitative research, if you do a focus group properly, it will tell you how to do it, the phases of implementation. Okay, so it is being done properly and will provide good results at the end of the day. Okay. And we've got many types: data triangulation, investigative triangulation, theory triangulation, methodological triangulation, environmental triangulation. The easiest one is methodological triangulation and investigative triangulation. Okay, normally my students, they will do these 2 only. Okay, because the others are more for pure life sciences studies and so on. Okay, can do also data triangulation, not so difficult. Okay, let's go into some of them. So data triangulation involves using different sources of information to increase the program participants, to increase the validity of a study. Could be stakeholders in a program, participants, other researchers, program staff, other community members, and so on. The case of an after-school program, let's say a study after-school program, the research process will start by identifying the stakeholder groups, such as youth in the program, their parents, teachers, and school administrators. Okay, so meaning data triangulation, meaning the source of the informants vary. Okay, meaning there's heterogeneity, meaning you are looking for diverse input. Okay, you're not dependent on one particular stakeholders only. And after you have completed, you show that the data converges to a common point. Okay, it converges to a common point, meaning the perspectives of the different stakeholders, the administrators, the teachers, okay, the parents, blah, 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 and so on, they converge to a common point. Okay, so that is data triangulation. Okay, investor, this one I like to use. Okay, this one I like to use because it's easy. Okay, so my student collect data, and then and because I do research, my students research in a group. You know, I use this Japanese system called the COSA system. So I can have many students. I have 27 students, PhD at ET. You know, see, no hair. All gone because of these students. 20 are from China, 7 from Indonesia. I have so much fun. Okay, but to handle 27, if I don't use the COSA system, I'll die standing. Sorry to say, but some China students, and headache, but it's just me. You got no headache dealing with China students. See, then I triangulate my result with Dr. Jasmine. See, this is a demonstration actually, that I'm not saying bad things, but I'm just an exercise of triangulation actually. You guys are so serious. Okay, so the COSA system, meaning I group, okay, 3 China students, okay, would have a common research project where, you know, I can compile them together, arrange them together in one sitting. Okay, in one go, I cover everything in 1 hour because they're doing something in common. Okay, let me give you one example. Okay, now 3 students are working on competitiveness strategy. Okay, and when we talk about competitiveness, we apply the SWOT analysis, correct? We apply the Porter's model, 5 forces, correct? Okay, right? Look. Okay, and also we use the PESTEL analysis, correct? PESTL, correct? And notice these are 3 common form competitiveness tools. So I've got 4 students. I got 4 students. My fingers went wrong now. 4 students. So all of them are using this PESTEL, Porter's, SWOT, but based on different contexts. One is doing on electric bicycle potential for export to Malaysia. The other one is for the startup. Remember, it's not a university startup. Okay, she's doing a study on university startup in China using these 3 tools. Okay, another one is doing a study on this Chinese tea. Can't remember the name of this Chinese tea. It's not Oolong Cha. Huh? Oh no, very expensive. You know, it's from the area I can't remember. So whatever lah. But they're all using the same tools. So by doing that, I can have a common meeting with these three and optimize my time. In Japan, we call this the COSA system, grouping based on commonness of research. Okay, and in the Japanese structure, the learned ones will train the not so learned ones. So among the three, there's one who's very ahead. Okay, I will assign him or her to guide the other. But of course, I monitor her. If not, jadi ajaran sesat. So I still have to monitor so that things are being done properly, and they report to me, so I can cover many in one go. Okay, that's my approach lah. Okay, so talking about this thing called the investigative triangulation, because they are sharing a common tool, common set of tools for the research, but from different perspectives, I can use them for investigative triangulation. Because the investigative triangulation talks about referring to others who have competency in the subject, in the area of research, in the tools of research. Here, the tools of research is competitiveness measurement. The three lah, authors, SWOT, and PESTEL. They are peers lah, and I am the mentor. Okay, because in investigative triangulation also you have to have the learned one, the Sifu lah at the top, and the disciples below, and we triangulate together. This is called investigative triangulation. Okay, what if it's only the supervisor and the student, nobody else? Investor juga, tapi only two lah. And you can describe this in your triangulation session in chapter 4. Okay, who are involved in the triangulation process, investigative triangulation. And then discussion between the candidate and his supervisor or her supervisor to confirm, to validate, to verify, okay, so that things are being done properly, to avoid biasness and so on. Okay, methodological triangulation also can be done, meaning once again, using different methods. You want to show that the Delphi method and the interview, okay, they converge also. Just now it was different stakeholders, right? Convergence of thoughts, not convergence of methods. Okay, meaning I use the observation, I use the interview. Yeah, it seems like they're going into a similar direction, convergence. Okay, so can also be used. Okay, but this one difficult. Don't. Okay, I would strongly suggest normally seasoned researchers would do this lah. Okay, professionals will embark on this. This one also don't do. Okay, very difficult. Okay, normally we do this in scientific research and so on. Okay, now let's talk about you are doing something like this. Everybody's favorite. Moderated mediation analysis. Right, Dr. Jasmine? Moderated mediation, correct? Yeah. I am triangulating with her. And then after listening, oh my God, this is very mathematical, very quantitative. What am I going to do? I want to change a bit lah. So that, you know, if I go for Viva, it looks a bit more interesting. I will not be condemned being too quantitative biased. Mono method some more. Okay, so I'm going to tweak. How am I going to tweak? Okay. In any research, quantitative, always focus on the dependent variable because this is fixed, the others can vary. Correct? Correct? Dependent variable is fixed. Let me repeat. The intervening, moderators, mediators, the independent can change. I can have other forms. Meaning I can have other forms of mediators, moderators, and independent variable. But dependent variable remain the same. Okay, let's say you've got this framework. Okay, and then you have already the survey questionnaire. Okay, you are about to embark. And then you came to this workshop. And you have second thoughts. Okay, I want to do some form of mixed method lah. So what you can do, my recommendation is to tweak. Okay, by using some form of qualitative, okay, here I still put BBW as quali, okay, and followed by a Delphi, okay, to identify the dimensions to measure the dependent variable. Meaning I am not going to use survey questionnaire items on organizational reputation from the journals, theses, and so on. I am going to develop them based on my qualitative method. Okay, understood? Yeah. So this is where the difference is. And then the examiner asks you, hey, who do you think you are? You know, to develop questionnaire is a long process. And here you for your PhD, you want to develop questionnaire from zero. How are you going to? Because this happened. But I train my students how to answer. Yeah. Okay. So number one, how to answer this kind of questions. Okay. Once again, remember the dependent variable is the most important. It doesn't change. If you're doing a study on China, doing a study in Indonesia, it would be best if the dependent variable is presented from the perspective of that particular country of origin. Meaning I want to have a set of Delphi experts, okay, to give me a recommendation on items to measure organizational reputation in this Chinese electric bicycle manufacturer. Okay, why? Because if I get survey questionnaire items coming up from the West, okay, it may not be so relevant from the China's perspective. And it cannot depend on pre-testing and pilot testing only, because you're looking into the context of the study. I know it sounds very scary, but this is where when you discuss, you explain your point of view. Okay, the intellectualism involved. Okay, the dependent variable is the most important. I'm using real experts from China to give input because my study is on China. It makes more sense. And based on the Delphi, I have a non-parametric test, okay, to measure consensus. Remember Dr. Jasmine last time when I talked about the Delphi 3.5 years ago? You were there also, I remember. You were there also, right? And we talked about the Delphi that we're using for this is powered by a hypothesis. This is where the uniqueness of the Delphi that I'm using, because it's a qualitative tool, but then it has got a hypothesis in the middle. Because the Delphi that we are using is called a modified Delphi. The first phase, round one, we do thematic analysis to find the themes. And for round two, we do a ranking of the themes to find which ones should be prioritized. Meaning number one is the one with the lowest mean. Number two, the one with the biggest is the least important. So by doing this, I am able to prioritize the dimensions that can feed my dependent variable. Let's say my Delphi is, I want to identify determinants of OR. So first round, I do thematic analysis. Round two, I rank. The moment I rank, I have done a non-parametric test. It shows that my results is robust. Because nothing beats hypothesis testing. Okay, hypothesis testing, why? Because we're using this thing called the 95% confidence interval. You're 95% confident that you're making the right decision. Okay, type 1, type 2 error, and so on. Remember this? You learned in high school so many years ago. Okay, so argue. Okay, and this is what people want to hear. You argue by saying that, okay, I'm using Delphi because my Delphi involves hypothesis testing, and therefore it's robust, and therefore the results can be used in the development of the items to measure OR. Okay?
to strengthen this. Okay, because he challenged you. Hey, who are you to develop instrument items? And then to strengthen your argument, this, let's say you have 7 items to measure OR, yeah? These 7 items I further validate with literature findings. Meaning I find findings that say that these 7 items are important to measure OR with all the composite reliability compound alpha to support. So the moment you answer like this, you're showing I can do this, even though I'm a scholar at the PhD level, I can develop instrument, but only for dependent variable, because I conducted a very robust approach, not just to test, but to confirm. Okay, you cross-check with journal findings and so on to confirm that these 7 are good measures to determine OR, then you will go to. Okay, not to worry. So this is the thing, like I said, we are not here to just to replicate an approach in doing research as per what we have learned in the past. We are here to challenge things. Okay, we want all of them be up there, not just replicators of past studies, okay, but innovators of future studies. By using new approach, we challenge the fundamentals. Nothing wrong about it. And you will get published. Okay, you will get published. So by tweaking the dependent variable instead of just relying on survey questionnaire items from already published, but then again you argue those are from Britain, from Europe, from America. Studies from China now. And then, so I'm using a Delphi. I'm compiling experts, academics from Chinese universities, Tsinghua, Beijing, so on. To confirm that these are the determinants and they serve their purpose from the Chinese perspective. Nobody can argue for them. Okay, so you have a mixed method study. Okay, even though it is still quantitative bias, you only have one research question. The first one, okay, what are the determinants of OR and how are these determinants ranked based on order of importance? The rest are all quantitative questions. Okay, so it becomes a quantitative bias mixed method. You want to make it sound even more scary, eh? A quantitative bias sequential mixed method research. Wow, that's no joke. So because the people read, wow, this is, they go, where go after reading all this. And then you cannot find this in the literature, but you challenge, by proposing your terminologies. Why not? Why not? So let's challenge assumptions. They have to be different, but you have to be dealing with all your facts and ammunition. Don't go there. You have to be like, no, always ready for whatever. Yeah? No, won't fail. You don't know won't fail. That's when you have to conduct across.
How can I ask?
Yes, please.
See, just now you give the example is on exploratory search.
Correct.
Actually, someone can expect that after that, right, move on to the quantitative. Okay, so now because in thesis format, right, now in chapter 3, we will actually, this is, if you are using this approach, so that in chapter 3, we will present the quantitative, and after that, followed by the quantitative. And under the quantitative section, right, normally we need to come up with all those scale the measurement items. But because, right, it has not done that qualitative aspect, because in chapter 3, when we do discussion, we have not carried out one. So when we go to the quantitative, how is it supposed to be done? Or what is the best approach? Because I do see some example is that right, they actually go for this kind of standard. They actually have chapter 3 that is for qualitative,
Only.
and then one is for quantitative. Which one is the best approach?
Okay. If you look into my thesis, I broke it up into 2. In Denmark, they allow to break it down based on methods. And then there's instead of 5, we have 6. Chapter 3, the first one is on the qualitative. And then the chapter 4 is quantitative method. But findings we converge lah both. Okay, and then 6 is the conclusion recommendation. Okay, let me extrapolate a bit. Okay, see, when you write your chapter 3 and you're doing a quantitative bias with only one qualitative research question, and you're saying that the qualitative research questions becomes the feeder to the final questionnaire. Okay, so meaning in your chapter 3, you can share all your questionnaire item development based on your independent and your moderators, mediators, whatsoever. But I should also mention that the discussion on the items to measure the dependent variable will be discussed in chapter 4, findings, because it follows the Delphi results. Okay, I'm doing this now, and it is accepted. It is accepted. So meaning in the chapter 4, you have to show the Delphi results, and then you build the items based on the determinants. Okay, let's say 7. Okay, and then you support, okay, with literature. Okay, and this is presented in chapter 4 early. I like to approach things based on sequence. Yeah, because this is sequential mixed method. I start with quali first, that becomes the feeder to the quanti. So I discuss quali first. Yeah. So so that's how we approach things. Okay. Meaning we are saying that the questionnaire is not complete in chapter 3 because you have to do the Delphi. So you complete it in chapter 4. It looks funny, but to me that's why I like to challenge standards and so on, because it makes sense. How can I put in chapter 3 when it is a finding of a method, the Delphi method, or interview, or focus group? Yeah. So in any of this, qualitative, thematic analysis, and then these themes you say you want to convert into questionnaire items, but I choose a Delphi because it's got a hypothesis built in, and it makes it even more robust. So in writing in defense of your work, you should always have your defense mechanism there. If people throw rocks and stones, spana and whatever, you have your defense mechanism. So I've got my defense mechanism. I'm not worried. And they say they are not strong enough. The student has done literature review to support the importance of these 7 determinants from Delphi. So why not? And if you search properly in journals now, you can perhaps find people are doing this. I found, okay, but they are broken down into questionnaire plus Delphi, interview plus Delphi, interview plus observation, that kind of thing. Okay, so to me, yeah, it looks very risky, but to me, it looks impressive because it challenges the norm. And I think because when you discuss, you don't say, I think, I believe. I always say myself, when you go for debate, don't say, I think, I believe. It shows you're more confident than ever. I believe, okay? By doing things in a very rigorous manner, using statistics to support, using proper thematic analysis to support, and then finally, complementing with literature to strengthen. So sometimes the right choice of word. Okay, towards the end, these determinants were strengthened based on literature review, and you quote all these references. Okay.
Thank you.
And I hope you understand, because I have this problem sometimes, I used to do this, but after that, I don't do it anymore. I got scared. I record myself, giving workshop. And then 1 week later, I listened to myself again. I got confused. No, I'm thinking.
I know what I'm talking about, roundabout and okay, any more question? Good question. Yeah. But once again, it's the concept of challenging things. Okay. Okay, calculator. See, she comes in with difficult questions. Okay, this some of my students' thesis, okay, using mixed and multi methods. Okay, this is the one on the CSR, and these are the way she organized the research design in chapter 3 summary. Okay, easy to understand. Yeah. This one also. This one we challenge everyone. Okay, we come up with this thing called preliminary conceptual framework. You know, see this word here, prelim. Nampak tak? Okay, prelim. So this is the framework, and these are the underpinning theories that support. Okay, and then all the direct indirect relationship, and then the onion. Let me just go ahead lah. This is the finalized framework. You know, comparing the prelim, this one, nampak? And this is the finalized. This one completely blew away the examiners. Because the prelim doesn't have the contents in here. Okay. But the finalized has got contents in here. And the prelim doesn't have the ranking. This is the Delphi. Okay, this girl, she did something even more adventurous. She did a Delphi for this and this as well. Okay, so this one is called finalized conceptual framework. Okay, if you have the opportunity to read Nora's thesis, Dr. Nora, sorry. Okay, Dr. Wan will ask one. She also does this prelim and then finalized. In the prelim, there are arrows from independent to mediated to dependent. But in the finalized, one arrow is missing because one relationship is not significant. One of the relationships, she will explain this later on. And we discuss, hey, you throw away the arrow in the finalized. And she threw away. And the examiner stacked it. Yeah. And I always feel let's not be too rigid. Use approach, try and tested approach since the beginning of time. Course one, this thing that really has to come in to help us to improve things. Okay. Let's just move on. This is from Alex, my student, 11 o'clock. Okay, this is a marketing study. And this is here's another thing, my students, most of them has got the flow chart. And they put these flow charts and the framework and the table where all the methods are being compiled together in their presentation. And examiners like it because just by looking at it, let me show you the flowchart. Yeah, this one here shows the sequential mixed method because one goes to the other. Okay, so the bibliometric becomes the feeder to the Delphi becomes the feeder to the survey questionnaire. That's what we discuss just now. Okay. So this is what we call the research flowchart. Okay, and then this is the framework. Okay, it's got two underpinning theories, TPP and SOR. Okay, and he's got one moderator. Meaning this is what we call a moderating, mediating framework. Okay, relationship, and the argument on the moderator. He used only one, which is age. This one also we got worried, and he got worried also. It's the old school approach of using demography as a moderator, correct? old school, right? But I told him it's okay, law. Why not? And then he used the Delphi and the BPO to do this, to find the dependent variable determinants. So I said, okay, don't worry. Okay. And he strengthened. I told him to strengthen. I want you guys to read this. If you're having moderators, yeah, please read this work by Memon, Ramaya, Chia, whatever, and so on. 2019. I heard Ramaya was here before teaching on all these things. Okay. We argue a lot now, you know. This video don't show. I try to answer them. So he wrote a paper, but I like this paper because he showed that, or Memon, I think Memon was his student. He's from Pakistan. Hey, how come doesn't move? See, that's what happened when you say the word Ramaya. I don't move anymore. Oh, okay. Okay. So Memon and Ramaya, 2019, yeah, wrote a paper on this moderation analysis. Okay, it was one of the best paper I've read. Okay, because it described how to do a proper mediation analysis. And the argument is by Memon, you don't just simply throw a moderator in the framework in your research. There must be a reason why. And the correct answer, according to this journal, written in 2019, is to show 3 possible results on the relationship. Okay, but then it's like this. Meaning it is like this. Oh, so far away. So when you have any relationship, okay, you can have positive. Let's see. Okay, you can have a negative relationship. Okay, and you can have what we call inconclusive relationship. This y-axis, x-axis correlation. Okay, so according to Memon, Ramaya, Chia, to show the requirement for a moderator to be introduced in the study, you have to show past studies that shows that the relationship is positive, negative, and inconclusive. Only then can you introduce the moderator. And I like that. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah? Most students, they're right, you just throw in with the understanding, yes. So you put this, you quote Memon and Ramaya. This is good. Okay? Because in lecture, Ramaya is Guruji, right? Is the Guruji, okay, when it comes to all this PNS analysis, moderator, mediator, analysis, multi-group, blah, 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 so on. Okay. Okay, any question on this so far? Any question? I want to go to the restroom. Can I go to the restroom? Huh? Okay, then we go to the restroom. Okay, then come back later. So you guys can start or say good things about me. My master's colleague is here. Okay. Your timing is excellent, Dr. Nora. Ani, tayo Shopee na betul. Dah buka dah kedai. Baru pukul 11. Dah habis 12 waktu 12:30. You use your laptop. Boleh boleh. Because you have some new slides, yeah? Okay. I'll stop where I introduce your slides. So is everybody here now? Back? Anybody else missing here? Semua dia? Oh, our friend at the back there is missing. Three people. Okay. Any questions? Anyone?
That's one.
Any questions, guys? Hello, hello? No? Everything crystal clear. Wow, I'm worried now. Because I don't even understand what I'm talking about. You guys are crystal clear. Oh, sini pakai apa ThinkBook kan? Ini semua laptop Wollongong.
Yeah.
Ah, kita pakai Dell. I think ThinkBook is more robust lah. I used to have one of them, very robust. Okay, let's move on. Time waits for no man. Okay, understood, this one. So, once again, before it was pure quantitative, and then what Alex did was, he used the Delphi, okay, to identify determinants of visit, eco tourism intention. And the findings of the Delphi also we have sent to a Q2 journal for publication, waiting for results. Okay, so and Dr. Noaswana also used the Delphi and the Biblio, okay, to identify the determinants of work engagement, correct? Yeah, see, I still remember your research. Until the day I die, I will remember. Oops, sorry. Okay, this is another one of my student. Remember, we talked about the agronomist, okay? Hannah Song. This is a study to evaluate efficacy, challenges, and strategies adopting fortified organic-based fertilizers for oil palm cultivation. I love this research. You know why I love this research? Because every time I meet her, I get free fertilizer. And 25 kilo, yeah. So So these are her objectives, okay, very structured. Okay, number one, of course, is the experimental design. Okay, what is the efficacy of fortified organic-based fertilizer in oil palm plantation? Number two, opportunities and challenges. Okay, strategies. Number three. Okay, and number four is the ranking. Okay, of the strategies. So immediately by reading this, I know 3 and 4 is the Delphi. Number one is the experimental design, and number two is the interview. Okay, I think somewhere also she introduced the Biblio as well. Okay, we'll talk about it. Yeah, so this is the full blown. She's got the Biblio, okay, the Delphi, the interview, and the experimental design study. Okay, and this is in the summary section of chapter 3. Remember, I always tell my students, if you have mixed or multi-method, summarize everything in a table and put it in your last section in chapter 3. It's very easy for people to read and understand what you're trying to do. Okay, so that once they go into chapter 4, it's in their mind already. Okay, and once again, a flow chart. Once again, all my students, they have flow charts on the process flow. Okay, overall research methodology flow chart to answer all the 4 questions with the methodology on the side. Okay, and now we are close to perhaps the climax, okay, of the session workshop. The great Dr. Wano Aswana, okay. Okay, so okay, this is a study, okay. The first PhD coming out from Wollongong, I feel blessed, okay, to be a supervisor. The title is the interplay. Okay, what it is? The interplay of work engagement, job crafting, entrepreneurial mindset, higher education climate, private university, academics in Malaysia, and mixed method approach. Okay. And she's got moderator in here, necessity before along the way. This is the prelim, and then the revised, one arrow was taken away. Okay, and these are the examiners involved. Okay, I'm the good-looking fella here, that's me. Okay, so and then if you observe, we don't write anymore all this moderating effect, mediating effect, moderating measure. It's messy. So we use this word, the interplay, and you lump all the variables there. Ties up very nicely. Why? Because she's doing mixed method. Understood that? If it is pure quantitative, then she will have to write the mediating effect of higher education climate on the relationship between job crafting, entrepreneurial mindset, and work engagement. It's pure quantitative. She's doing mixed method, so we put that interplay. Don't put mediating because you are doing mixed method. Logic must prevail. Okay, so if we are ready, okay, Dr. Wano Aswana, okay, bombs away, okay, dengan penuh takzim. Dia jemput Dr. Wan Aswana untuk tampil ke hadapan untuk menyambung. Yay! Okay, let me pull out this. This is one.
Can.
Oh, that's mine. Tak apa, cabut lah. I'm going to move. Okay. The floor is yours.
Hello. Not apply for. And
Oh, belum clear. No. Can you see?
okay. For the online people, sites. Can one of you answer? You check on the comments, okay? As I mentioned just now, it's a matter of sharing what I have done for my PhD research. So the title. Okay. That one. That one. Move on. So tepi. Atau dia hijau tadi. Okay. Okay, I think Prof already mentioned to you that I had 4 different variables. The B is work engagement, and the 2 items are job crafting and entrepreneurial mindsets, and the mediating variable is higher education, climate. So this particular research is on us, we as a private university lecturer, because I am one of them, and this is what I feel is going on in our daily life and our work. So I would like to see whether our people engage or not. It's quite interesting, the results that I discovered. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to skip through the analysis, right? So after before I collected before data analysis, we had to do 3 different types of tests. One is the pre-test on the Delphi study in order for the questions to be acceptable, and the questions are going to be something that is in regard to the particular study. And then after that, whatever that comes from Delphi had to do a change in terms, had to do some improvement in terms of double ballot, negative worded questions, etc. And from there, I did a pilot study of 30 academics. I don't know whether some of you were given the questionnaire or not, because I did it all from Wollongong lecturers. I think some of you did, right? And this is what we got for the 30 academics pilot study. So generally it was okay. So my study is on mixed method, sequential exploratory mixed method, which is a qual-quant model. Okay, so which means that I start off with qualitative. Okay, so for the qualitative, I did a multi-method, which I start with the bibliometric analysis, whereby high-impact papers were being reviewed using POP, publish or perish software, created by Hazim. And then from there on, we have highlighted some of the context-specific papers that deals with Malaysian private universities. Then after that, we went on to, of course, creating the particular questionnaire, and then went for pre-tests and identified 12 academic experts. Of course, I didn't come up with 12 academic experts out of the blue.
we had quite a tough time to identify them. Not everyone is free to entertain you, to answer your questionnaire. We tried over 15 people, deans, okay, academic deans. Only 12 were had replied to us, wanted to go through 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. So this is what happened during the phase 1. Okay, so the panel selection was a diverse range of Malaysian private universities. The selection criteria was the official position, must be a dean, and also a high, someone holding a high position. Significant years of experience, which is above 10 years, and specific knowledge related to academic work, yeah, meaning that they don't really have to be from the business, it can be from other areas as well. And also working in management and higher education environment. So it was already identified for these 12 academic experts. So the round 1, we give the engagement teams, which we did from the bibliometric analysis to those experts, and they commented and suggested and some things modify, etc. Then in the second round, we asked them to rank the teams according to the order of importance. So how did we identify what we call it validate that? We did that by statistically measuring it using Kendall's coefficient of concordance and also with a chi-square test to confirm that the agreement was statistically significant and not to random chance. So it was not just something plucked out of the sky. We actually did some statistical measurement of that. So this is the result of the candles, and here is the chi-square. And the ranking of the teams was shown likewise. That is phase 1. So that is the qualitative part. Now the second part is the quantitative, where now I send to everybody else. Okay, I don't send to the same people in Wollongong. I send to all the different universities, but private universities, because in my questionnaire, the first thing that they need to identify is whether are they private university lecturer or public university lecturer. So public is all taken out. So these are all private university lecturers. So I had 170 that have been confirmed, and we took it based on academic roles, experience, specialization, and qualification. So they have master's degrees and or holding a PhD. Okay, so I use PLSM, Smart PLSM. So basically in Smart PLSM, there are 2 different ways of measuring. One is the measurement model, and second is the structural model. So the measurement model, which measure all these convex alpha, loading, CR, pivot variance, confirm that they are reliable as well as valid. From there, then I move on to the next structural model. So in the structural model is where we measure the hypothesized relationships. So there was a 75% variance, and we notice, which is quite expected, that entrepreneurial mindset and good engagement is not supported. Okay, basically how I explain this is because our lecturers, even though we are teaching entrepreneurship or having any entrepreneurial kind of requirements, don't have or not really have this mindset. We are not business owners and we don't have this urge to do a lot of business. So it is what is expected. But because the MOHE blueprint wanted this mindset to be instilled into academics, that is one of my problem statements, that this particular research needs to be done and need to be communicated so that we can do something about it. So this is the summary of the structural model, and I think everything looks good here. That's why we are able to see. And then the last one is the DAT role. And so first we found the insignificant relationship. So the relationship between job property and engagement is partially mediated. It means that both are supported, whereas in terms of entrepreneur's mindset and work engagement is fully, because it only mediates one, but not the other. Okay, so that is the difference between the two. So this is where the power of triangulation comes in. All right, so the mixed method approach provided crucial context that a single method would have missed. Quantitative analysis showed rewards had a lower correlation with engagement, value of 0.43 compared to correlation between job crafting and engagement. The insight is this: the Delphi experts explain this discrepancy. It's not about the amount of financial reward. Okay, they are not bothered about that much. What they will say is the nature, fairness, and equity of the entire reward system, especially non-financial rewards like recognition and autonomy, that truly drive engagement. So for academics, we are not so much looking into the money factor. It is more into us being recognized for what we do and also doing what we love, for example. Okay. So our final finding highlights that the power of triangulation is that the quantitative result showed weakest link for rewards, while our qualitative expert ranking number 1. So triangulation revealed the truth. Engagement is not driven by the amount of reward, but by the fairness of the system and non-financial recognition. So this crucial insight was only possible by combining both methods. If I had done one, I wouldn't have gotten the real results out. So this is my summary of novelty and significance, whereby it is demonstrated with 4 key achievements. One is to address an untapped research concept. The untapped one is from Malaysian private universities, which have not been commonly done in research. And it developed an integrated conceptual model by synthesizing 3 distinct theories: the stimulus organism response model, the job demands research model, and the self-determination theory into a cohesive and testable framework. And it added a new theoretical lens, whereby the application of SR model demonstrated a differential mediation, offering a more complex view of how stimuli is processed. And using a sequential-based method design to ensure the final model was not just theoretical, but grounded in the life experience in context of the participant. All right, so that is all my research for you. Okay, this, I think that's why I overheard him saying what is my preliminary framework. This is my preliminary framework, okay, where I show the indirect and direct relationship and how the 3 different theories blended into it. And then all these are significant except for this one. This is a final conceptualized framework where you can see that benefits is scored the highest in this particular finding. Okay, guys, I think that's all. Thank you. Okay, your turn, Prof. Can you come over?
Tapi tempatnya I will not use. I will also not use it. Okay.
In that case, then you need to communicate with mine.
Nak kena pasang balik sebenarnya laptop.
Okay, ni okay lah. You want your strikes? No need, right?
Nanti boleh check. Pasal I think we're at the tail end lah.
No more already. You need to log in, Prof.
Yeah, I don't have much because only 2 more slides left. Okay, okay, whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Coba sini. Tak buka-buka. Biarkan
Okay. We are at the closure. This is my closing remark. Okay, my closing remark. Let me just read it, okay?
And there you have it, okay? The methodological chapter in a nutshell, as you have mentioned, the exact content structure of this chapter can vary between universities. So be sure to check with your institution before you start writing. Possible to find dissertations or thesis from former students of your specific degree program. This will give you a strong indicator of the expectations and norms when it comes to the methodology chapter and all other chapters. Also, remember the golden rule in multi-chapter: justify every choice. Put in all the justification. Make sure you clearly explain why and for what, and reference which are credible textbooks or journal papers to back up your classification. Okay, why am I saying this? Number one, we are at Wollongong, including me. Okay, so and Wollongong has got proper standards format in writing. Okay, if your students or you, okay, tend to study, okay, they have to follow through with the format. Some universities are very particular. The moment you don't follow the format, out you go, they will not entertain. I know my old university, UTM, you don't follow the format, we are not going to entertain your request. Okay. And number two, it's about referencing your past dissertation or thesis. You've got one already. Okay, that can be referred to so that, and if you intend to do a mixed method, one thing per work by itself is credible enough because it's a PhD thesis. Meaning your PhD thesis has been approved, meaning it can be referred to. It qualifies because it shows the robustness of the research. Okay, so the one as one as the thesis will be the benchmark. Okay, and number three is referencing. Yeah, credible referencing goes a long way. So I believe that everyone has got an interest, could be very diverse, okay? And if you approach things properly, you get the right kind of advices to guide you, okay? You're in safe hands, okay? Actually, I've got my nice mind game. Okay, I do this so that people will not feel sleepy. Okay, and also to sharpen the mind. Okay, don't look at me like that, you. Just giving me the. Okay, listen. Okay, listen. I'm going to shoot the screen. A man is born in 1972. Okay, and dies in 1952 at the age of 25. Wow.
Okay.
Oh, that's why it's okay. How is it possible? And once again, born in 1972, dies in 1952 at the age of 25. Prima. Kelma. You, the qualitative man, looking at you now. No. Dr. Raswana, you were my student.
It's not of the same. You just have to be hardworking.
Okay, here's the answer. Okay. 1972 and 1952 refers to the room number in the hospital. Because I put that 1970, the mind plays tricks. Okay, you think it's going to be your. Okay, it could be room number, hotel number, house address, whatever is on.
But you mentioned he was born
In the room,
I did not specify. A man is born in 1972, so that's
so our
room.
assumption is here.
Yeah. So this is what we call lateral thinking.
Okay, meaning we are not deceived. The moment we see that 7 died, 52 doesn't make sense. That's for what you say. Okay, the moment it doesn't make sense, then the mind has to think of what will make sense based on this premise. Okay, so what makes sense is these are numbers on the room where he was born and where he died. Okay, at the age of 25. Okay, some people were thinking of this funny Johnny Depp movie, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button or whatever. It's Hollywood. Forget it. Okay, when he grows younger over the years, my God, then no. Okay, so the logical mind must explore. Okay, how can this statement be a reality? Okay, it's called lateral thinking. Okay, as scholars, we have to exercise our minds, stay alert, okay, so that you remain sharp, then you can guide people competently, inshallah. Okay, okay, pretty much done. I want to hear questions. Okay,
No question, very good, review, feedback from, yeah, the science background. I
like that.
No idea of the social science.
So you're teaching what, engineering or science?
No, I'm like science, 10%.
Oh,
But lecturers now need to do research.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
as what you mentioned, we should open our mind.
Yeah.
And try different things, and I really like your way of thinking.
Mm.
It's not like rigid, which I always thought that social science is like that, but actually it can be this way and that.
Of
way.
course,
Really
yeah.
open up.
It's how you approach things at the end of the day. Yeah. So as I said, my first degree was statistics, but along the way, I feel like I shouldn't be too mathematical oriented per se. I mean, there's more to life than just mathematics and logic and so on. So when I was given the opportunity to further my studies and force, I have a diploma in qualitative study from Copenhagen University. So by virtue of sitting with these professors and learning a lot of new things, it enriches me. Okay, for your information, I did my PhD when I was 45 years old. With what? Technically, I was self-sponsored. Politics, I'm not about politics again. But then again, itulah. I always feel, don't go for the comfort zone. I'm good in statistics, I'll do statistics on it. I'm good in qualitative interview, that's it, stick to the same game plan. No, because the PG is the point where you have the opportunity to learn and master new competencies along the way. Okay, and be a better researcher along. Okay, maybe you have questions from the attendees online or anybody else. Yeah, it's a qualitative.
The question by you comment.
Allah.
This time I know about the naive.
Naive.
Between the framework and last. Previously I just like paper mailing. There's a few before you start a question, you can come up with.
Yeah, I used to be like that also. I used to be like that also. Yeah. So that's why, before I was using Miles and Hume, I loved, and then I came across Brown and Clark. Oh, this is even better. Because over time you come across something even better. And you should embrace the one better than before and disregard the old ones. Does it make sense to still like if you are strong in quantity? Remember those days, we were using the old school Barrett and Kenny. Remember Barrett and Kenny? 3-step mediation analysis. Remember? Right? Nobody used Barrett and Kenny. Okay. But then Preacher and Hayes came in and said that the approach used by Barrett and Kenny is questionable. Meaning there were flaws and weaknesses. And surprisingly, back in the early 90s, late 80s, everybody was using Barrett and Kenny for median analysis and then all the graphs and so on. And suddenly when this guy, Preacher and Hayes, said, they are forced, the whole citation just dropped overnight. Nobody referred to, only a few. It was a big drop. And now with the era of Ringle, Hair, Ramaya, all these PLS people, okay, it makes it even worse. Nobody talked about Baron and Kenny three-step approach because there were errors in the process. So meaning if today, now you still write using, you do analysis still using Baron, you'll be short left and right. Journals will just reject outright. Okay, so the need to always improve your knowledge base, okay, becomes a necessity.
From this question,
Please,
there's a question from the online
okay, if you can read it to me.
about the investigators' triangulation. Will the forum scrutinize the credibility and professional status of the investigator involved?
Okay, it's like this lah. When you do your pre-test, remember in developing instrument, before you do the pilot at the pitch level, all my students, they do pre-test first. Because pre-test, you only need about 3 or 4 or 5 max to review the content of the items in the instrument, see whether it can be understood, okay, the flow is logical, okay, and then they will give rating. That's pre-test. The pilot test is where you have at least 30, okay, you plow it, send it to everyone, get them to answer the questions. Pre-test, they look into the questions, content, but pilot test, they answer the questions, and you done the Chromebox alpha, reliability 0.7 nanometer, and so on. Okay, so the principle is the same. In the pre-test, if you do that, you have to decide who are the people involved in the pre-test. But you don't have to give their names, you give codes lah. Professor A from this one, his experience, background, expertise. And then Dr. B, Dr. C, whatever is a practitioner, they put this guy is a GM, blah, 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 so on. Shows credibility based on their background. Okay, so the same thing also. Okay, if you get people, okay, to do the investigative triangulation, okay, it'll be good. But you have to, the context of maintaining confidentiality of the people involved, ethical issues and so on. So you just put up, okay, Professor A, Dr. A, Mr. A, whatever, those who are involved in the investigative triangulation. So many, if you have students also, as I said to you, I use my students, but because they are PhD students using the same tools, competitiveness tools, so they qualify. Okay, so maybe the column will not be just academic qualification, but also research area expertise or subject matter expertise, and you put the same subject matter expertise as per the one which is being investigated, triangulated, okay, accordingly. Then it makes sense. Okay, see, I didn't understand that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions, or does that answer, or do I need to elaborate more? No? Okay. Oh, crystal clear, not bad. You have any questions, sir? You've been quiet all day. Going down. There's the Malay proverb, yang movie, or that is with all kinds of questions.
It's here. Okay.
We're at the tail end. If you have questions.
I from HFC just
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I remember you. Okay, yeah. I remember you. Yeah. Okay, any more? Please. Criticisms, I'm okay. I love when people criticize or say you're wrong. Okay, and it gives an avenue to argue. No? No? Wow. Okay. So if there are no queries, I would like to convey my appreciation to everyone for the opportunity given to share whatever competencies I have on the subject matter, truly enjoy. Okay, if there are needs for me to come back to share whatever knowledge that I have, okay, feel free to contact me. So I wish you all the best in all your endeavors, your research, publication, thesis development. Okay, and if you have any queries, okay, you want to test your ideas, okay, Dr. Nora has my handphone number, okay, my email and so on. Feel free to contact me accordingly. Okay, I wish you all the best. Good luck to you. Okay, have a great day again. Thank you.
Thank you. She said just now, thank you for the clarification. Thank you just now.
Okay, the notes are with the Amalia. Okay, so you can get it from her. And, okay, guys, take care. Oh.